Hello, I'm Krampus.
Hi, and I'm Reyna.
And you're listening to the Date Night Horror Show. Hopefully, boys and girls, you've been very bad this year. Because if you have, I'm coming for you.
I've been bad.
I know you have. Just kidding, I'm Enzo. Sorry, Reyna, you know that around Christmas time, I go into Krampus mode.
Of course I know that. I love it.
It's my way of coping with the holidays, which I'm not a huge fan of Christmas. So I feel like having discovered the Krampus tradition, Bavarian Krampus tradition, I feel like it's a version of Christmas I wish I would have had ever since
much
childhood.
Fun.
Yeah. I mean, it's monster parades. I mean, I'm there. I am totally there. So
that's fun.
Yeah, today we're going to do our holiday episode, our favorite holiday horror, and we're also going to do a deep dive into a Krampus event we went to here in LA called KRAMPUS RUMPUS 2024.
Krampus, baby.
And that was ridiculously fun. And then we're going to do our feature review of what I think is probably your favorite holiday horror film of all time now, and probably one of your favorites of this year,
Terrifier 3. Hell yeah. Love me some Art the Clown.
Oh, so good. So we'll talk about Krampus. We'll talk about the feature review. Before we get into that, though, I want to ask you, just real quick, what are some of your favorite holiday horror films that you have to watch around Christmas time and the holidays?
Yeah. Well, one of them is definitely the Advent Calendar.
Okay. Yeah, that one's really good.
It's such a cool story where this woman who's a paraplegic gets an Advent calendar. And of course, like you open it up every day and then, you get a treat. Except this treat is a horror treat come to life.
Yeah, that's a French film that we saw originally on Shudder. I think it's on Shudder right now as well because of the holidays. And I think it's 2021 when it came out, sometime around there. It's really good. So I feel I totally understand why you'd pick that because it's sort of a new classic.
It really is. And I like the way they use the Advent calendar as the gateway to the horrorness of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really good.
And then the French are, they're just so great.
Oh my gosh. Great horror storytellers for sure.
Yeah, I think their culture has an intrinsic cynicism that really works.
Totally.
With horror.
Works very well.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's one of your go-tos? So
I think a pretty obvious choice, but I'm going to say it anyway because I loved it. I loved the film when it came out, is Krampus.
Oh, yeah.
2015. This is an American film, so it's sort of an American take on the Krampus myth. There's some really cool shit in this movie. And if you haven't seen it, please give it a try. There's some political stuff in there too, left versus right.
Yeah.
So it feels very, very topical and kind of current for, our climate these days. But like if you like monsters,
visually it's really nice too.
Yeah, and some funky creatures. I remember a few years back we went to Halloween Horror Nights and we had not seen the Krampus movie. And we went into the maze and the maze was so incredibly good. And I told you, we need to watch this movie.
Yeah, we need to watch it, yeah.
And then we watched it and we loved it. And now it's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
It's one of my
Toni
go-tos.
Collette. You can't go wrong with her. Yeah. She's so amazing.
It's definitely my go-to. It's probably one of my kickoffs.
Yeah, definitely.
For the holiday season, horror holiday.
That's a fun one.
Do you have another one?
Christmas, Bloody Christmas.
Oh, yeah, that one's from a couple of years ago.
That was a couple of years ago, 2022. And it's interesting one. It's about a robot or like a robot toy that's in a department store that comes to life and wreaks complete slasher havoc
Yeah, it's
violent
relentless.
slasher havoc.
Yeah, it's like the Terminator. If the Terminator was dressed as Santa. And it's funny because there's a lot of these movies where they take Santa and they make him the slasher, and you have that's very hit or miss. So when this got onto Shudder a couple years ago, I wasn't quite sure how good it would be. And then we saw, we're like, wow, this is really,
we took a chance.
This is really fun.
Yeah, because you think robot, you're like, what?
Yeah, and it kind of touches upon the whole AI fear that people are feeling these days. But what I love about it is it's super bloody, super gory, super bloody, really satisfying. Drive-in horror.
Yeah.
Nothing too heady, but still a lot of fun.
But that's a good point. It may be really relevant right now with the whole AI thing.
Absolutely.
I didn't think about that because it has that whole twist, that whole kind of premise to it.
Yeah, it doesn't hit you over the head with it, but there's enough there for it.
Yeah, for sure. What's another pick for you?
There's a Finnish movie that I really loved when it came out. And it's another go-to that I like to watch every year. It's called Rare Exports.
Oh, yeah.
It's on AMC Plus and Shudder right now. I love this movie. It's really cool.
It's an interesting take for sure.
Yeah, it's like if the Santa myth was a little bit more horror-leaning. So you can't quite tell if the Santa figure is good or bad.
Super creepy.
Sort of a mix of what Krampus originally was and what Santa Claus became. This is a fun movie, and you can tell they have some money behind it.
Yeah.
I just loved it. I thought it was
and that
really
Santa
cool.
has that elongated kind of Santa look to it. That
lanky, creepy.
Yeah, not like the big jolly, but the more
Yeah, and you're not quite sure what the Santa's up to and kind of what is going on.
Yeah.
So, and then you have the exoticness of another culture there. But then there's a timelessness too, because it centers around a child and kind of him figuring out what's going on. I really like this movie a lot, and it is one of my yearly go-tos
It's
now.
such a good little gem.
Rare Exports. Look for it. It's great.
Yeah, very good. Oh, good choices.
Yeah.
I like those choices.
Okay, so let's talk about
Are you ready to talk about
Krampus Rumpus.
Oh, Krampus Rumpus first. Okay.
Yeah. And we'll get to, don't worry, we'll get to Art the Clown.
Art the Clown, Art the Clown.
But first we have to have Krampus.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Okay, so every year there's Krampus troupe called Krampus LA, and I actually know one of the guys who organizes it, who's one of the dudes involved, and he posts on social media when they do these different events. And we had gone to one a few years back.
A couple years ago.
Yeah, at Alpine Village. This was a place that sort of had a Bavarian German vibe to it. Sort of like a beer, like a beer.
It was like a little German village, so it had like
really
restaurant, bar, shops, all that kind of thing. Actually, I take it back. It wasn't a couple years ago. It was actually before COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we went to this thing, and originally we went as like misfit toys, kind of like you and Alex were rag dolls, Christmas rag dolls, and I was a Christmas nutcracker. And we went to this thing, and we didn't know what to really expect. And we had one of the greatest
So much fun
nights out of our time here in LA. And we've been in LA for almost 20 years.
Yes, so I have to tell a funny story because Enzo told Alex and I, let's go to this thing. It sounds like a lot of fun. Never been to Alpine Village. Knew very little about it. Heard about it, but didn't know a lot. So we get all dressed up in our costumes.
Yeah. And just to give you guys a sense of that, that's like 2 hours at least to get ready.
Yeah. And so we get all dressed up and we go over there and we get to the parking lot and there's nobody in the parking lot that's dressed. Like people are going to this restaurant and whatever else is there. No one in costume.
So I'm like trying to find where the party is.
We
and
think he went nuts or something.
and I'm not hearing anything, right? So then in my mind, I'm like, fuck it. Well, fuck it. We'll just show up at the bar and we're dressed up like weirdos. Who cares? That's happened
in the
before.
middle of December.
In my mind, I was prepared for the worst, right? So then we finally get to the entrance. I'm like, okay, this is the entrance. And we open the doors.
It's like, oh.
And the entire place is dressed up in holiday Krampus outfits. Like 80%, right?
Yeah.
It was like a movie. And the doors open and everyone turns to look at us and goes, hey!
Welcome.
They were all happy and stuff. And like I said before, this was one of the most fun events I've ever been to in LA.
So cool.
And LA is a very dynamic place as far as life goes. We had so much fun.
So much fun.
Oh my God.
And people are so nice. Like, everyone's just there to have it. That's what's fun about it, too.
Goodwill.
Is that everyone's just there to have a good time. There's no drama.
Yeah.
People are really nice. People, talk to you and, comment on your costume or whatever.
Yeah.
But they're not, because we've been to other costume events where there's some little snide remarks here and there. But this was just like super nice. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like a community.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like after we experienced that, we wanted to recreate it, but then COVID happened, right? And so these events were canceled, and finally they started to pick up again. And this was one of them, and it lived up to it. Like we had a great time.
We did, and we had previously gone to that convention that was Krampus, remember? Where you marched in that little...
Yeah, that was Season Screaming.
Oh, yeah, Season Screaming.
It was from the people who do Midsummer Scream. And that was a lot of fun, but they weren't doing that this year.
Right.
So if we wanted Krampus, this was one of our only times to get Krampus.
And it was fun.
We got it.
It was so much fun. Again, same type of thing. It was at this really cool brewery called Benny Boys in LA. And it was organized by the same...
Krampus LA
Yeah,
group.
Krampus LA group. Same thing, sense of community, a lot of fun, joyful, I don't know, music.
What was cool is that it's a traditional Bavarian German event. So there's a lot of traditional music. There's Lederhosen. It's almost like an Oktoberfest, right?
Right.
Similar sort of festive. Hey, everyone, cheer and drink and all that, but in a really cool way, like super positive and festive. But then you have the Krampus element and the Krampus myth, and the Krampus tradition has been going on for centuries. And this troupe called Krampus LA, they're very much sticklers for the grand tradition of Krampus and Krampi, what they're supposed to be like.
Yeah.
And so the first time we went, I didn't want to go as Krampus because I didn't want to disrespect the tradition. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't walking in there like an idiot, and disrespecting the tradition, because, as Hispanic people, we have our traditions,
right,
and we don't like them to get trounced on.
Right.
But what's really great about the whole Krampus thing is the Krampus troupe does not mind that you dress Krampus-like. In fact, in the invite, they encourage it. But if you're marching as a Krampi, you have to do it in the traditional sense. The big masks is a big thing. Fur is a big thing. Large bells are a big thing as well. The brambles. So there's definitely a tradition there that they like to hit. And I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I also appreciate that the guys in the troupe are like, hey, the more the merrier. People be festive and dress the way you want and pay tribute to Krampus. That's great. So it's awesome.
It was so much fun, and I love seeing people in costume. Like what people come up with, and there were some really cool Krampi fans, fans and costumes.
Yeah.
And then even people that didn't go full ham on the Krampus, they had something, whether it was like horns or
ugly sweaters
or something. So that
ugly
just makes
Krampus sweaters.
I love the ugly Krampus sweaters. I thought those were so cool. I'd never seen those before.
Yeah. And it's the perfect level of festive rowdiness and goodwill. Mm-hmm. So it's a little kind of wild. The night is a little wild.
That's fun.
So I was dressed as a Krampi, and I was really enjoying myself. And Reyna was hilarious because she's like, "Oh, you shouldn't. I don't want you to take a bramble with you." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "Women are going to want you to spank them." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? What do you mean?" I'm like, "It's a Krampus thing to have one of those." She's like, no. So then we go, right? And for the most part, women do not ask for that because they're not seeing the bramble. But one woman did. So then I thought about it in the back of my mind. And when I was talking to my friend who's actually part of the Krampus troupe, he was saying that some women have groped him.
I know how this thing goes. Come on.
Inappropriately.
Yeah, I know how this goes. We've been doing costumes forever.
See, I didn't know that.
We've been in some situations, okay?
That is pretty hilarious. That is pretty funny.
I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So I guess, he's kind of a rowdy figure and sort of a little on the S&M side with the spanky stuff. So I was not expecting that. And again, he said that, women have been inappropriate and inappropriately grabbed because he's in full fur. So, but he's been grabbed in certain areas and it's like,
God. Whoa. ladies, control yourselves.
But it's neat. I feel like Krampus is like, he's like Festivus for the rest of us guys. I really feel that because the crowd, there were a lot of Bavarian and German people there. But then there was an underground element too, like a punk element.
Oh, yeah.
Goth element, and those people were dressed. So I feel like it's a counterculture Christmas thing. Mm-hmm. And honestly, dressing up in stuff like this really helps me get through the holidays because I feel like costume events, it adds a level of absurdity that I like. Yeah. Kind of takes the edge off of things. It's like I need ridiculousness to kind of get through some serious stuff.
Yeah.
And because I've lost people, a lot of people, and we've lost people, I need as much of that as possible during the holidays.
Yeah.
So that's been a big help.
If Enzo could, he would come to Christmas dinner as Krampus.
I would.
I would love that.
And then you guys know last year I dressed like the Grinch. And honestly, because it's the first time I had done it, I'm like, fun. Oh my God, can I just be the Grinch during Christmas all the time? Like, I wish I had an excuse to dress like the Grinch.
Yeah.
Because he embodies how I feel around the holidays, I feel a little uneasy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a big ridiculous thing to like this would be great. But yeah, I mean, here's the thing, you guys. If you want to go to these Krampus events, when they are announced, you have to buy those tickets at least a couple months in advance because they always sell out.
Yeah, and they did 2 days and they were sold out both days.
Uh-huh. Yeah, they did. Yeah. They did Saturday and Sunday, and they were both sold out. And the crowds were massive.
Yeah, it was pretty packed.
It was great. It was
a lot of fun. Next year, I definitely want to be more. This year, Alex and I went as more witch.
Yeah, more like a Hagazusa type.
Yeah, but next year, I definitely want to go more towards the Krampus.
Oh, you do want to? You want to do the Krampi?
Yeah.
I think it's hard because you said you didn't want to look cute, and I think if I put the goat nose on you, you'll look cute.
No, we'll see. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
To be continued.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it was great. Highly recommend it. If you ever get a chance to go to one of these Krampus events, wherever you are, because I know we have listeners from all over, give it a shot. It is so much fun.
So much fun.
Yeah.
Good times.
Cool. Yeah, so I think we're ready for our feature review of Terrifier 3. You ready?
Yes.
And now, our feature review.
All right.
Yay, my Sancho.
Yeah, exactly. So, do you want to read the synopsis for us?
Sure. Okay, so Art the Clown is set to unleash chaos on the unsuspecting residents of Miles County as they peacefully drift off to sleep on Christmas Eve.
Absolutely.
And of course, it stars David Howard Thornton as the Great Art the Clown
Yes.
and Lauren Lavetta as Sierra, and written and directed by Damien Leone.
Oh, Leone, man.
He knows what's up.
Okay, so what did you think of it right off?
Matt, from jump,
Yeah.
it gets you. It's everything you want from Art the Clown and Terrifier. We went to go see it in the theater, and I was kind of afraid that this was going to happen. But I love Art the Clown so much, and this is totally my kind of movie, that I was laughing. But, not laughing like, it's like that. I was just so happy laugh. I was just so happy that it just started out right.
Yeah.
And it, from beginning to end, like it didn't let up.
Yeah, I really feel Damien Leone, for me, is one of the most conscientious horror directors out there.
Oh,
and what I
man.
mean by that is he understands what a horror fan is looking for
100%.
and what a horror fan wants from a film.
Yeah.
And so
He doesn't pull punches.
he doesn't pull
Any.
punches. He has a great horror rhythm.
Yeah.
Story, shocking moment, story, shocking moment. Like a prize fighter. He approaches it with an amazing rhythm for horror.
Totally. Yeah, that's so true. Because what I like about the horror moments is they're not gratuitous.
Yeah.
Like sometimes, as much as I love, because I do love blood and guts and all, I do. That's like my thing. But even sometimes it's too much.
Yeah.
Or I don't like, and I also cannot stand when characters are dumb.
Yeah.
When you're like, come on, that no one would do that, or that's so dumb,
Yep.
Never. His characters are never like that. His characters are never unlikable or unwatchable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. He's just, I can't wait to see. Of course, I want a Terrifier 4, and I know supposedly that's coming.
Oh, yeah.
But I can't wait to see what he does beyond Terrifier.
Yeah, and if you look at the franchise, if you compare his franchise to other franchises, he's just killing it.
Each one is amazing.
Each one's amazing, and I feel like 3 has become my new favorite.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which is so rare to say. Like,
It really is.
when can you say that for any friend? Maybe Freddy? Maybe Freddy, the first 3?
Maybe.
The third one is great. So
Maybe.
but even then, like, I feel like Leone really pays attention to how to satisfy a horror fan.
Yeah.
So, I've been reading reviews, and the reviews are pretty great. But then there's the newbie review where they don't know what to expect, and they're freaked out by the gore, and it's like, you're watching
my God.
Terrifier 3.
Yeah, for real.
You know what I mean? It's like,
it's not any less gory than the first Terrifier.
it's like watching a Fast and the Furious movie and saying, there's too many cars in this movie.
Exactly. Yeah, that's silly.
Yeah. So, and what's interesting about the film is that he mixes the holiday formula, the feel of a holiday horror film really well with Art the Clown. He tells the story somewhat out of sequence, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. And then he shows parts of Art's lore
Yeah, I like that a
that we
lot.
haven't seen before, and he connects it with the previous film very, very well. So, I'm satisfied. I'm very satisfied.
Super satisfied.
And it's funny because I've seen in some of the reviews, they go, "Oh yeah, he didn't do anything that topped the bedroom scene in Terrifier 2."
That's not true.
Which is not true.
That's 100% not true.
There's a scene in there, and you'll know when you get there. that I was like shocked. Like it was just so shocking.
We'll
and
talk about it more in the
transgressive.
spoiler, right?
Yeah, we're definitely
Okay.
going to go into the spoiler zone for this one. But for me, overall, I feel like this knocked it out of the park.
Oh man.
If you like very gory films, if you think Art the Clown is kind of fun, you will love Terrifier 3.
Art the Clown was off the chain too in this one. Just some of the moments.
Some of the humor
Oh my
really
gosh.
connects too.
It's- And David Howard Thornton plays Art the Clown so beautifully.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, he's such a good choice. It's like he understands Art the Clown so well.
He plays it with a joy too.
You know he loves playing that. Who wouldn't?
Yeah.
I mean,
He seems, like I watch interviews with him and he seems like such a sweet guy. Mm-hmm. And he brings that, it sounds really weird, but he brings that joy to playing Art the Clown. And it just works.
it's yeah. I mean, I can't say enough about it. Like you're always afraid when you love something so much, because I've loved Art the Clown since the Terrifier, since the beginning, since the first one we watched.
Yeah.
And you're always kind of like, ooh, what if this one sucks?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
that didn't happen. It's amazing. I love this movie so much.
Home run.
Home run for sure.
Okay. I think we're ready to go into the spoiler zone. Are you ready?
And it's streaming, so watch it.
Yeah. Are you ready?
Ready?
Beware. Spoilers ahead.
I usually say something, but Art the Clown doesn't say
He
anything.
didn't say anything. Or you
Okay.
could talk through me.
Yeah, that's true. So what scenes do you want to talk about now that we're in the
Oh
spoiler
my
zone?
god.
Wait, listeners, we are in the spoiler
Yeah.
zone, which means please, if you haven't seen the film yet, then you want to skip this part. If you've already seen the film, then we can talk more in depth with our favorite scenes.
Or if you like spoilers, some people like spoilers.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. Tell me about it. Well, I mean, just the opening scene of Terrifier 3 is amazing.
Yeah.
It's, when where do I start? Just him in a Santa suit, first of all,
It's hilarious.
hilarious, genius, amazing.
Yeah.
So seeing him all bloodied and all skinny
Yeah.
in a Santa suit, and the little girl comes downstairs and is all la la la, oh so cute.
Yeah, it's very much a Grinch homage.
Total Grinch homage. And then all hell breaks loose. It's crazy. Does not pull any punches.
Yeah, I read somewhere that first sequence was sort of a deal breaker with the studios he was working with.
Well, because it involves kids, I'm sure. Yeah.
But when you watch it, yeah, it does involve him killing kids, but it's still done in a tasteful way.
it's done in it is.
Similar to how Texas Chainsaw, if you really watch Texas Chainsaw, it's not that bloody. But it feels like it is because it's so shocking.
Yeah.
So it's sort of a similar thing.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Leone has a style.
Yeah.
He knows how far to push things in the right places.
Yeah.
And that first sequence
Oh my God.
really kicks things off. It is brutal.
Him eating the Christmas cookies and then washing the plate.
Oh my god. See, this is
Chef kiss.
yeah. This is where Art the Clown really shines, is that it's almost like a silent comedy actor who also does really violent things that are really scary and
I
transgressive.
love it so much.
So I want to speak to a couple of things
Yeah.
that really hit it for me. The humor parts
Oh man,
were really, just nail it.
so good.
When he's sitting on Santa Claus's lap and he takes the shot and then instantly spits it out in his face.
Oh my god, and then pees on him.
And then
Oh
the
my
way he pees on him, the way he looks over at him.
like oops. Oh my god.
Dude, that was so funny.
That bar scene was cool. I wasn't too sure how it was gonna all play out. or if it was gonna play out well, I guess. But
Yeah.
oh my god, that part, and then freezing the guy in the way when he like hits him in the way everything falls apart.
Yeah,
Ugh.
the viscera of the of what's inside the frozen thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. I thought I was worried the freezing would make them crystallized, but the fact that it's just the outer shell that's cracked,
Oh, you
and
thought
the
like all the way
inside's
inside.
gory. It's creepy.
Yeah, it's super creepy.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was so good. And then the moments of pure gore are some of the best I've seen
The
practically
shower scene?
in years. In years.
Yeah, like the shower scene with the couple.
Yeah.
Oof.
And then, oh my God, the scene where, you know how she says, "Oh, I want to look into his eyes" and all that. And when he looks into her eyes, that moment is actually kind of funny. Like,
It's
I mean, it's such a gory moment, but it's just ridiculous. It's so ridiculous that it's a little funny.
well because it's just so posery that she would say that in the first place. Because who wants to look a serial killer in the face?
Right. And then the way he looks at her,
Yeah.
like all, ooh, like,
Yeah, like,
he's
ooh,
posery.
yeah.
Like, it's just funny. It's funny.
It's
And then,
hilarious.
oh my God, the blood
Angel.
angel.
Another chef kiss.
Unbelievable.
I mean, where do you come up with this shit? I mean, really,
good.
like, where do you come up with that shit?
I was listening to an interview with David Howard Thornton. He was saying that when they're on set, they bounce stuff off each other, so they improvise stuff. And sometimes they do stuff that's even funnier.
Oh shit!
But then they look at it all and they go,
Too much.
we don't want to lose
Yeah,
the scary."
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what happened to Freddy. Freddy got more funny than he was scary. And I feel like with art,
I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they're walking this balance. They're walking this
very
line.
well.
you know?
Very well walking that balance.
Yeah.
Because you're right, it could go totally the other way where then it's totally ruins it all.
Yeah, where it would get too silly. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, the opening scenes where he's headless.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
That could be really funny, but it's scary and funny. Like, they managed to have both of those feelings.
Yeah.
Like when he's sitting on the bus and he has the guy's severed head on his head.
Oh my God.
It's funny, but it's really gross and gory.
It's terrifying.
It's just this perfect
Yeah.
little. I'm telling you, there's a lot of taste here.
So one of my favorite scenes is when Art the Clown and Victoria, or aka the witch, get on the subway.
Yeah.
And there's the guy that's dressed as Art the Clown for like Halloween. And he's like, "Oh my God, you guys look terrific." Like, you know, the guy in the costume's complimenting Art the Clown.
Yeah.
And then it cuts because Art the Clown's all bloodied up, right? Because they had just did some nastiness. And then they show him in the next scene with a clean Art the Clown suit.
Yeah.
Because obviously he kills the guy.
It's a
they don't
taste
show
thing.
it, but it's really cool the way he just comes out with all the really cool Art the Clown and everything.
Yeah, it's a taste thing. It was really
man.
cool.
I love that scene.
And then they expand on the lore, which is great. Like the way both of them can lie dormant is really interesting and creepy. Yeah. Like, it's just, the way
Especially
he
the
can
tub.
regenerate.
Ugh.
Like,
The tub where Victoria's in there.
yeah,
Oh, it's so disgusting.
Really creepy. Yeah. Anything else you want to talk about in the spoiler zone?
The scene back at her aunt and uncle's house with her little cousin.
Yeah.
I thought all of that was really cool. I love the crown of thorns that they put on her.
Yeah.
I thought one of the creepiest things is the way they force the mouse down her, or mice, I should say, because it was more than one, down her throat, and then they cut open her throat, and the mice spill out. Oh my gosh, that was terrifying.
Yeah, and the way they force the tube down too.
Yeah, the way they hammer in the tube into her mouth was horrible. I love the fight scenes because Lauren Lavera is so good. I know that she has some training in that.
Oh
but
yeah, you can tell.
yeah, she's so good at the fight scenes. And
then like the way they use Victoria to have Art the Clown talk.
have a voice.
It's like
Very smart.
this demon is can spread between multiple people. It makes me wonder about the child in the second one.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they'll elaborate on that in the third or in the fourth film. But yeah, it's a really interesting.
Yeah.
And then the flashback sequences, you know, that show the father, you know.
Oh yeah, those were cool too. Yeah. I like that a lot. Yeah.
With Jason Patrick. That was really cool.
Gave a little more depth to her character. For sure. And I have to say I was a little disappointed at first that the little girl wasn't in it from the second one.
Yeah. Maybe he's saving it for that. Yeah, there's
Maybe,
a method to his madness, I feel like.
Yeah.
So.
But I thought that because I wasn't sure how the Victoria thing was going to pan out, but it was cool. You're right at the end where it was like that was his voice or his way of, such a smart way of having him speak.
Yeah, absolutely.
Without having Art the Clown himself speak. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty great. Okay, I think we're ready to leave the spoiler zone.
Watch Art the Clown, Terrifier 3, and if you haven't seen any of them, watch all 3 of them. Binge. Well, everyone, have a happy holiday, Krampus style or not. I hope you all have a good holiday season.
Yeah, and we're going to kick off the new year with a wrap-up of last year on our next episode, so that should be fun.
Awesome. We've seen a lot of pretty good horror films.
It's been a good year for horror.
Yeah, it
for
really
sure.
has.
Cool. I think we're done.
All right. Scare you later.
The Date Night Horror Show is written and produced by Enzo and Reyna. All music written and produced by Enzo. Follow the show on Facebook.com/The Date Night Horror Show. Find Enzo and Reyna online at TheDateNightHorrorShow.com.